Since the dawn of time, when night still entwined with dawn and stars whispered the universe's secrets, a mystical current wove through civilizations. Alchemy. Not merely the aspiration to turn lead into pure gold, it was a grander quest. The transformation of the soul itself, the refinement of the self, to touch the philosopher's stone, the key to immortality and enlightenment. But this path is not for everyone. It hides behind the veil of reality, revealing itself only to those truly ready to hear its call, to souls weary of life's surface and yearning to delve into the essence of existence. It is said that alchemy is not a set of formulas or a collection of spells. It is a journey, an intricate dance between will and destiny, guarded by the 7 portals of transformation. Each portal is a trial, a mirror reflecting the deepest hidden corners of the seeker. To pass through them requires not only profound knowledge or practical skill, but a brave heart, a steadfast spirit, and above all, a readiness to shed the old to embrace the new, to abandon illusion, to touch truth. Elara, a young scholar whose eyes always held a contemplative gleam and a thirst for knowledge, had spent years immersed in ancient libraries, turning through time-dusted pages. She sought not power or fame, but answers to her ponderings on life's meaning, on the invisible threads connecting all things. One night, as a storm raged outside her window, an old, untitled book accidentally fell from the highest shelf. Inside, not dense text, but a strange celestial map and a single, deeply etched line. When the mind is still and the heart open, the 7 portals will reveal themselves. That was the moment the first call reached Elara. Elara's journey began not with a distant voyage, but with an expedition into her own inner world. The star map did not point to a specific location, but was a code guiding through different states of consciousness. The first portal, the portal of whispers, the initial awakening. The first portal was not of stone or wood. It was a state of awareness, as Elara began to listen to the subtle whispers of the world around and within her, things obscured by the daily clamor of life. She learned to quiet her mind, observing thoughts drift by without judgment. In that stillness, she recognized the existence of a deeper reality, a dimension previously unknown to her. This was the first step of readiness, realizing the incompleteness of bookish knowledge and opening up to intuitive understanding. The second portal, the obsidian gate, confronting the shadow. The second portal appeared in a dream, a gate of polished black obsidian, reflecting not Elara's image, but the fears, traumas, and flaws she always tried to bury. To pass, Elara was forced to confront her own shadow, the parts she rejected, painful memories, limiting beliefs. This was a painful, but necessary purification. She learned that the shadow was not to be destroyed, but to be understood and embraced, for it too was an inseparable part of her. Readiness here was the courage to look unflinchingly at the naked truth of her ego. The third portal, the twin pillars, discrimination and choice. Passing the obsidian gate, Elara found herself standing between 2 colossal pillars, one white, one black, symbolizing polarities, reason and emotion, logic and intuition, conventional good and evil. The challenge here was not to choose one and discard the other, but to learn to recognize the value and role of both, seeking a dynamic balance between them. Elara realized that true discrimination lay not in labeling right or wrong, but in understanding the nature of each aspect and choosing a harmonious path, based on inner wisdom rather than external pressures. Readiness here was self-mastery, no longer torn by inner conflicts. The fourth portal, the sunken temple, integrating the fragments. The next portal led Elara to an ancient temple submerged beneath still waters. Here, fragmented knowledge, scattered experiences, and seemingly opposing emotions began to connect. Elara understood that everything she had learned, everything she had experienced, joyful or sad, successful or failed, were necessary pieces of her life's larger puzzle. She learned to integrate the seemingly contradictory aspects of herself, accepting her own complexity and multidimensionality. This was the conjunctio stage in alchemy, the union of opposing elements to create a new, higher compound. Readiness here was complete acceptance. The fifth portal, the starlit peak. Illumination and understanding. After integrating the fragments, Elara found herself atop a high mountain, where the star-filled night sky seemed uncannily close. Here, a sudden illumination dawned. She saw the subtle interconnectedness of all life, understanding the universe's operating principles, not just with her intellect, but with her entire being. Mysteries that once troubled her became clear. This was not the end of learning, but the beginning of a new vision, a profound understanding of reality's nature. Readiness here was the capacity to receive truths beyond ordinary comprehension. The sixth portal, the Weaver's Loom, actively creating reality. The sixth portal was not a place to pass through, but a cosmic loom, where Elara realized she was not just an observer, but a co-creator of her own reality. With newfound understanding, she learned to consciously use her will and energy to weave experiences, relationships, and the path ahead. She understood that every thought, every word, every action was a thread, contributing to life's tapestry. Readiness here was taking responsibility for one's creative power. The seventh portal, the silent sanctum, transcendence and union. Finally, Elara entered the silent sanctum. This was not a magnificent ornate space, but a still, pure void, filled with gentle light. No more trials, no more questions, only peace and a sense of complete union with all. Here, Elara realized the Philosopher's Stone was not an external object, but the transformed state of consciousness, the refined self. Alchemy was not about turning lead into gold, but fear into love, ignorance into wisdom, separation into union. She had become alchemy itself. Readiness here was the complete surrender of the individual ego to merge with the whole. Elara returned from her journey, no longer the pensive scholar of before. Her eyes now shone with profound wisdom and deep peace. She carried no gold or jewels, but a far more precious treasure, an understanding of her own nature and the universe. She understood that the seven portals of transformation were not fixed locations, but latent stages within every human being, waiting to be awakened. Alchemy, in all its mystery and antiquity, is always there, patiently waiting. It does not boast, nor does it loudly invite. It reveals itself only to those who, like Elara, have walked the path of self-awareness, dared to face the dark corners of their soul, and above all, are truly ready for the great transformation. The seven portals are always open, not in some distant land, but in the very depths of our consciousness. The question is not whether we can find them, but whether we have the courage and sincerity to begin the inward journey, to listen to the call and answer the invitation to transform. For the greatest treasure of alchemy is not gold, but the human being, forged and radiant from within. That journey, in truth, is the destination.